Back in the 80s, there was this really strange era in horror movies where tiny monsters were super popular. It started with Gremlins, but shortly after we got movies like Ghoulies and Munchies.
Guess we shot her. Hey, we're the Munchies!
But one of my favorites has always been Critters.
Critters. They bite.
Critters came out back in 1986. It's about these tiny space creatures called Krites.
We want the Krites.
The Krites?
Critters. Krites.
They're always hungry, and they eat everything they can. They're kind of like hedgehogs in that they can roll up into these little balls and roll around. They can also shoot these little poisonous darts out of their heads, or at least I think it's their heads. It could be their backs. It's hard to tell where the head and where the back begins on these things. Anyway, the critters escape a maximum security prison on some asteroid in deep space, and they end up coming to Earth, where they terrorize a family. Because it wouldn't be a horror movie unless they terrorize some family. They start by killing and eating all the animals on their farm.
What happened to him?
I don't know.
But when they run out, they start attacking the humans. Well, at the same time, we get these galactic bounty hunters that are sent out to track down the critters.
Get the bounty hunters. I have a job for you.
Well, what's really cool about these guys is in order to blend into whatever planet they're on, they have the ability to shapeshift. The main bounty hunter turns himself into Johnny Steele. He's a famous rock star that he sees on TV. The other bounty hunter, though, he can't really seem to find a face that fits him, so he just keeps shape-shifting throughout the entire movie.
Yeah? Reverend, what are you doing here?
Charlie, what do you think you do?
Who are you guys?
Now, the bounty hunters are trying to do the right thing and capture the critters, but they just end up destroying everything in their way. They shoot up a church. They shoot up a bar. They can't even go bowling without screwing things up.
I wonder what team he's on.
It's like we have two different movies. We've got the critters terrorizing the family, and we've got the bounty hunters terrorizing the town. It's hilarious. Well, back on the farm, that poor family is doing everything they can to fight off the critters on their own. The dad gets attacked multiple times. He and the mother are both shot by those poisonous darts, and they're both too weak to keep fighting. So it's up to their son, Bradley, to make a run for it to get help.
I can do it.
Absolutely not.
Dad, you can't even walk.
He eventually comes across the bounty hunters.
Come on, go! Dad's all torn up and Mom's got like a harpoon thing in her neck and they're getting bigger.
He brings them back home, where they take care of the critters by, of course, blowing everything up. Well, before all the critters are killed, a few of them escape and they kidnap the sister and take her back to their ship. Bradley follows them and he sneaks into their spaceship, rescues his sister, and... oh yeah, by the way, I should probably mention that earlier in the movie, Bradley got in trouble for constantly lighting firecrackers.
You know better than that, boy. Go to your room.
So he spent all the time in his room crafting a giant firecracker. A bomb. He crafts a bomb. So after he rescues his sister, he uses the bomb to blow up the ship. Hooray for humans. What I like about this movie is how funny it is. This is a legit horror, and it's got plenty of tense and creepy moments. But it never forgets how silly of a premise it really is. Sure, the critters are ferocious monsters with razor-sharp teeth, and they eat everything in their way. But they're also tiny. One of my favorite moments is when Bradley feeds one of them one of his firecrackers, and you'd expect it to explode, but what we get is so much better. Even the side plot of the bounty hunters is funny. They're searching all over town looking for the critters, just destroying everything they touch. They have no idea how to drive. And everywhere they go, they just look so out of place.
We're here for the Christ.
I also really like how the majority of the movie revolves around the small family. For the most part, they're relatable, and they actually keep the movie from getting too boring before the critters finally attack. Bradley's always getting into trouble. He's blowing things up and shooting his sister with a slingshot.
Boy, did you shoot your sister with that slingshot?
I think I'll stand on the Fifth Amendment.
He even tries to get out of school faking a fever. By the way, this stunt right here inspired me when I was a kid, and I must say, don't try this at home. The thermometer actually exploded.
Oh my god! I thought you fucking died!
The parents are even dialed in pretty well. I especially like the dad. He's stern, but there are plenty of scenes where you can see that he really cares about his kids and he just wants the best for them. My least favorite part about the family and the movie is the daughter, April. She was a complete throwaway character. Her only job was just to be in danger so she could be rescued. Early in the movie, she's trapped in the barn and it's up to Bradley to save her. And in the end, she had to be rescued all over again when she was taken prisoner. I think the ending of the movie would have been a lot better and more exciting if somebody else got taken prisoner, only because we never really got to know April and I never felt like the stakes were that high. And this could have been fixed relatively easily if the writers actually had her do something throughout the movie to make her memorable. I mean, everybody else did something. The dad, even though he was too weak to keep fighting, he remained the brains of the operation. And the mom, she was a badass with that shotgun. And Bradley was the main character, so it makes sense that he did most of the work. He had to think on his feet and act quickly. Like when the family was locked outside, he was the one who ran around back and climbed through a window to let the family in. And when the critters finally broke into the house, he was the one who went downstairs to get the shotgun. He was the one who saved April, twice. And he's the one who eventually ran for help and brought back the bounty hunters. But April? She didn't do anything. She could have been given any one of Bradley's tasks, and it wouldn't have taken anything away from him because he already did so much, but it would have really rounded out the entire family and we would have had a bunch of good characters. Instead, we got a great father, mother, son dynamic with some girl thrown on the side.
April! Who's April?
What's that thing got to do with April?
And ultimately, that speaks to how good this movie is, when the worst part of it is how it just depicts one character. Thanks for watching, everyone. My name's Kenny. Now, if you made it this far into my video, click the like button because it's the right thing to do. Until next time, let's not just watch movies, let's talk about them too.